Welcome to Unveiling the Magnificence, exploring the great libraries of Rome. In this captivating journey, we delve into the opulent world of ancient Rome's grand libraries, repositories of knowledge and power. In a time of mass illiteracy, the idea of a public library held unique meanings. Our story begins by peering through the annals of history, where libraries weren't just places of learning, but symbols of the emperor's influence. Libraries like the Ulpian Library and those within the Temple of Peace and Tamgard flaunted their grandeur, inviting passersby to explore their treasures. But were these libraries truly open to all? It's the year 200 CE, and we're in Ephesus, an Aegean city with roots in ancient Greece, now a bustling center within the mighty Roman Empire. As we wander down the marble-paved Curites Street, a local resident becomes a part of the vibrant tapestry, navigating through the town's lively activity, shopping for goods in tucked-away stalls, enjoying the public baths, and even encountering a conveniently located brothel. Here, amidst the hustle and bustle, merchants from across the Mediterranean disembark from their ships, unloading their cargoes and conducting trade at the bustling hub that connects the east and west. They pass by the shrines dedicated to Emperor Hadrian and the Nymphaeum of Emperor Trajan, potent symbols reminding everyone that Ephesus's prosperity is now intertwined with the distant realm of Rome. And there, at the end of this animated thoroughfare, slightly askew as if revealing itself gradually, stands a grand spectacle, the magnificent marble-clad facade adorned with Corinthian columns, intricate reliefs, and elaborate inscriptions. Ascending a short staircase, flanked by statues, we're drawn towards three large doors that beckon us into a vast chamber, a room with towering columns and a lofty ceiling. Within its walls, thousands of scrolls are meticulously stored in rectangular recesses. The doors of the imposing Library of Celsus swing wide open, inviting anyone to step inside this sanctum of the written word. Millennia may have passed, but the scene resonates in our modern era. Throughout history, libraries have stood as custodians of knowledge, shaping architectural marvels that transcend mere practicality. Today's libraries are a testament to the Roman impulse to elevate the pursuit of wisdom, infusing these hallowed halls with a grandeur reminiscent of temples, places of reverence and aspiration, adorned with grand porticos, stately columns, ornate decorations, and sweeping staircases. However, a library isn't merely a vessel for universal education. The philosopher Michel Foucault once asserted that power and knowledge are inextricably linked, two forces that intertwine and shape one another. Even in spaces designated as public and open to all, the specter of curated content and controlled truths has always loomed. The concept of the public library predates the glory of imperial Rome. In the earlier days of the Roman Republic, 509–27 BCE, libraries were reserved for the privileged few, hidden within the domains of the educated elite. These sanctuaries of learning were overseen by a Ver Magnus, the head of the household, who would welcome close friends, amici, to partake in an intimate exchange of ideas, cultural influence, and intellectual discourse. However, the Roman Republic's later years were marked by tumultuous civil wars and political upheaval, propelling the state towards a single ruler. The Republic's checks and balances faltered, giving rise to the reign of the first emperor, Octavian. Amid titles like Princeps Civitatis and Primus Inter Pares, he sought authority without assuming the title of Rex, or king. Augustus became his chosen moniker, a title that masked the transformation from republic to despotism. As the Roman Republic waned, the library concept evolved. From private affairs hidden within the estates of the elite, libraries blossomed into public repositories, signifying a departure from the aristocratic grip on knowledge. Augustus opened the doors to public libraries, granting access to a treasure trove once reserved for the privileged few. However, this newfound openness came with strings attached. Imperial scholars curated these spaces, often subjecting them to censorship. Roman emperors shaped not only education but also the narratives reaching their subjects. Millennia later, the echoes of history reverberate. Just as ancient emperors molded public perception through libraries, modern institutions grapple with censorship and ideological battles. The legacy of libraries endures, a testament to their enduring impact on societies throughout time. In a time of turmoil and manipulation, the masses were influenced by imperial cults and lavish projects, pacified with entertainment and food. Yet, amidst this landscape, a class of educated aristocracy persisted, their ambitions needing restraint. Julius Caesar's ambition to gather works in Greek and Latin for public use set a tone, but it was Gaius Asinius Pollio who beat him to the punch, establishing Rome's first public library using his spoils of war. As power shifted, Julius Caesar's vision echoed in Gaius Asinius Pollio's efforts. Watching closely, Pollio saw Octavian rise to become Emperor Augustus. The new emperor, Augustus, unveiled his own library within the Temple of Apollo, mirroring Pollio's initiative. The mantle of culture and knowledge shifted from republican patronage to imperial legacy. Augustus expanded his libraries, amassing books taken from defeated generals. The libraries stood in stark contrast to private collections, marked as public resources. Ovid, exiled to distant Tomies, marveled at the Palatine Library's accessibility, where the thoughts of past and present were open for readers to explore. Augustus recognized the symbolic weight of his gesture, granting access to knowledge previously confined by the elite. The Palatine Library wasn't just a space, it was a reflection of imperial prowess. Statues and pillars adorned the grand halls, portraits of authors graced the walls, and a connection to Augustus' private residence elevated its significance. References to Rome's public libraries first appeared in Horace's verses in 20 BCE. Yet, beneath the awe, a warning lingered. Horace's words hinted at suspicion that these libraries might be tainted, stripped of their essence. The elite held a cautious view, preferring the untouched treasures of traditional private collections. This suspicion wasn't unfounded. Augustus wielded control over the intellectual realm, appointing his educated freedmen to oversee libraries. Gaius Julius Hyginus managed the Palatine, and Gaius Maecenas Melissus was entrusted with the Porticus of Octavia Library. These men were trusted but also beholden to their liberator, ensuring a watchful eye over knowledge. The shadow of state censorship loomed. Strict examination of library volumes became a euphemism for control. Augustus, ambitious and possessive, had reshaped the elite's intellectual landscape, casting them from the domain and solidifying his influence over the pursuit of knowledge. Just like any astute autocrat, Augustus employed tactics of intimidation and control. His libraries weren't exempt from this strategy. Drawing from his own playbook, he used violent measures to ensure his library's contents aligned with imperial views. When orator, historian Titus Labienus and Rhetor Cassius Severus crossed his path, their works were condemned to oblivion through damnatio memoriae, and their books were consumed by the flames of state-ordered burning. Augustus didn't even spare sacred volumes, committing over 2,000 prophetic texts to the fire, carefully scrutinizing the Sibylline oracles before housing them within the Temple of Apollo. He also curtailed the publication of senatorial proceedings, turning Julius Caesar's Acta Diurna into a tool of propaganda. These actions, though typical of an autocratic ruler securing his reign, were more than just a display of power. They were calculated moves, meant to silence any potential dissenting voices. The term, strict examination, as Suetonius hinted, veiled state censorship in imperial libraries. Horace's verses hinted at the encroachment of imperial truth into public libraries. Ovid, however, faced consequences. Accused of a poem and a mistake, he was banished and lamented his denied access to libraries, even to the Atrium Libertatis. Augustus, ever watchful, even prohibited specific writings, including works by Julius Caesar. The libraries were more than just repositories. They were stages for gatherings, where participation was subtly supervised. Augustus presented himself as an involved patron of intellect, despite his easily offended demeanor. Suetonius noted his courteous engagement with contemporary talent, although offense was readily taken. As imperial rule solidified, successors like Tiberius continued the trend of appointing freedmen to manage collections, albeit with less strict censorship. Libraries served as tools for shaping public opinion, exemplified when Tiberius examined and rejected certain prophecies. Caligula's erratic decisions highlighted the inconsistency of imperial policy. Even Virgil's Aeneid, once celebrated as a testament to Augustus' legacy, faced removal under Caligula's disdain. These libraries were potent instruments, molding state opinion and policy according to imperial whim. Eventually, library upkeep became routine. Claudius surprised scholars during a recitation, showcasing the emperor's engagement, though tinged with apprehension. Intellectual prowess wasn't necessary for imperial duties, as demonstrated by Domitian's efforts to restore a burned library despite his aversion to reading. The grandeur of imperial Roman libraries was a sight to behold, a captivating symphony of colors and textures, a lavish blend of Egyptian granite and Anatolian marble. But the allure of these libraries was inseparable from the opulent excess that defined the imperial Roman ethos. Libraries mushroomed across the capital, from Augustus' opulent collections in the Palatine to Tiberius' literary sanctuaries in the Temple of Augustus and the Imperial Palace. The grandeur extended beyond Rome. Hadrian, a passionate devotee of Hellenic culture, constructed his own Athenian library, lauded by Pausanias for its splendor, adorned with a gilded roof, alabaster stone, and statues. Books were almost an afterthought. The pinnacle of this endeavor was the Ulpian Library, a monument inserted into the heart of Rome's Forum of Trajan by the emperor himself. Its twin Latin and Greek collections stood across from each other, flanking the monumental column of Trajan. Within those walls, the collections were housed in rooms that exuded luxury, an extravagant blend of Egyptian granite, Numidian giallo antico, and Anatolian marble. This grandeur echoed the bustling metropolis it inhabited. Urban density dictated that these libraries were integrated into larger civic and religious complexes, clustering around temples, porticos, and forums. Rather than being swallowed by the city, they rose as monuments of knowledge amidst the chaos. Architectural decisions sometimes defied practicality. Despite Vitruvius' wisdom, the Library of Rogatianus faced west onto a bustling street instead of eastward for better light. Large bookrooms, though grand, exposed scrolls to thieves and damp. Amidst a world shrouded in widespread illiteracy, the concept of a public library held diverse implications. Just as today, these libraries likely spanned a spectrum of accessibility. The Ulpian Library and those in Ephesus and Tamgard welcomed passersby with open bookrooms, emphasizing walk-in availability. Yet, libraries within temple precincts and palaces, though labeled as public, were probably accessible by appointment, reminiscent of modern collections. Rome's public libraries were more than civic institutions. They stood as monuments of imperial benevolence, symbols of the new order's triumph. Augustus and his successors championed the ideology of public knowledge ownership, building upon Asinius Pollio's foundational library legacy. The masses' inability to read these texts was inconsequential. An illusion masked an autocratic control mechanism, diverting attention from true democratic access to written knowledge. The Roman lesson holds relevance today. Modern democracies also grapple with library integrity. In 2022, the American Library Association revealed over 1,200 censorship demands for thousands of titles, predominantly by or about LGBTQIA+ individuals and people of color. A report from PEN America disclosed bans in 138 school districts across the US. In the UK, the Chartered Institute of Library and Information Professionals expressed concerns about rising censorship requests. Libraries remain susceptible to power struggles, ideological divisions, and thought control, a lesson inherited from the Romans. Echoes from the past resonate. Tacitus, the imperial historian, voices his envy for a bygone era where historical truth flowed freely. In an age where power is centralized, he laments, truth is compromised. Thank you for joining us on this captivating exploration of Rome's great libraries. As we reflect on the past, let us remember the lessons they teach us about the delicate balance between knowledge, power, and the pursuit of truth. In the modern world, as we navigate the corridors of information, let us be vigilant in preserving the sanctity of libraries as havens of unbiased learning and diverse perspectives. We invite you to continue this conversation in the comments section below. Share your thoughts, reflections, and stories about libraries and their significance in your life. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay connected with our channel and explore more fascinating journeys into history and culture.